Hello, you guys. I'm Amber,
And I'm Patty.
and welcome back to another episode of Chromosomes and Chaos.
Two moms, two perspectives, and one badass podcast.
We are super excited. We have an interview set up today for you guys um, with Liz from Ruby's Rainbow. A little backstory. I don't know much about Ruby's Rainbow, so I'm super excited to hear more. But Patty's been involved for the last couple of years, has, said nothing but amazing things about this organization and all it's
Hey.
doing for kiddos with Down syndrome. And so, Liz, we're super excited to have you on and hear your story. And Patty, if you want to share a little bit more about what Ruby's Rainbow is, and then we'll get into our interview.
Yeah, we're excited to have Liz on with us. She is the founder of Ruby's Rainbow, an organization that has awarded millions of dollars in scholarships to individuals with Down syndrome and is really changing what people believe is possible for their futures. And so we're happy to have her today just to talk a little bit about the organization and motherhood and advocacy and maybe just building something that is, bigger than you can imagine or just what people perceive. So we're grateful to have you and thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Joining us from Austin, Texas.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh,
I love it, Liz. Well, we would just want to hear, why don't you share your story? So when it all first began, the early stages of the diagnosis and yeah, just that story.
Yeah, we didn't know Ruby was rocking an extra chromosome until she was born. So it was this fun little surprise. Yeah, surprise. And honestly, there was so many other things that were wrapped around her birth. Like I always say she came early, tiny, and rocking an extra chromosome. She was not expected at the time that she came. And they had to take her out, like, quick. And so there was a lot of things that was like, okay, they told me she had Down syndrome, but it was like, is she gonna live? Like, and so um I think I look back on it now and, I look back on that with a lot of grace because I didn't really, the Down syndrome was such a teeny tiny little part of the whole situation happening. Um, and I remember my husband, he was a special education teacher at the time. So, he was just like, down, my kids with Down syndrome are my favorite. Like, no biggie. We've got this. And, I got her home because she was in the NICU for about 3 weeks. So got her home and really was just like, okay, well, now what? My heart was just like telling me that I needed to do something and the world needed to see what I saw in this tiny little human that I had created. And so I went out and I, literally like went to the library and I don't really read. So, my husband was like, wow, is this what it took to get you to read? I went and like checked out every single book I could. I came home with a stack of books like over my face. And started just reading and reading and reading and, nothing. I really wanted to know like what the future might look like and, all of the things that I hoped and wished for my older daughter. I have an older daughter who's 2 years older, her big sister, Ella May. And, I never really thought about all these things with Ella, like, is she going to have the opportunity to go to college? Is she going to get married? Is she going to, have friends that love her? Is she going to, like all of these things I never really thought about with Ella. But with Ruby, I was just like, everything seemed so uncertain and unknown. So I read all these books and, just dove right in and nothing like, I always say nothing depicted this like perfect little human that was laying next to me that I could already tell was so determined and so, just incredible. And, I was like, this little chick's going to change the world, I don't know how, but this little chick's going to change the world. And so, I like shut all the books and was just like, ugh, I'm just gonna I'm gonna follow her lead. I'm gonna let her show me, what she can do. And, um, and so I just really, when she was about 6 months old, my heart was like, "God, Liz, you gotta do something," "You gotta do something." And since I was so focused on the future, like, I mean, my my friends and my community, like, they mean so much to me, and so I was just like, I wanted that so badly for her. Like, is she gonna have friends and community? And, are people gonna love and accept her the way we love and accept her? Like, how, what is that gonna look like when she gets older? And there really wasn't a lot of things at that point. I mean, this was 15 years ago on social media, like there wasn't this huge, I couldn't just go on Instagram and be like, find some people with Down syndrome that were older, just to get a feel of like, well, what are the opportunities and what are they doing? And so I was like, I looked at my husband one day and I was like, I think I want to help somebody with Down syndrome go to college, and he literally looked at me and was like, do people with Down syndrome go to college? And I'm like, I'm not sure.
They're going to.
But I'm gonna find that one person. I mean, literally, I was like, I'm gonna find that one person that's going for their dreams, their dreams of college, and I'm gonna help that one person. And so, at the time I was an esthetician, I help people with their skincare and hair problems, and I love my job. And I was like, so I guess my point is, I didn't know anything about anything, about starting a nonprofit or anything like that. And so, I just started Googling, like we didn't have money to like, hire anybody to help me do this. Um, so I just started Googling, how to start a nonprofit. And then I just took like okay, you got to do this first. And so then it was just baby steps, and, every day I would get home from work and I would look at this little nugget next to me who was just, I could tell ready to change the world. I was like, okay, well, let me do a little bit more research. And so, it just kind of started from there. And in 2011, we got our, 501(c)(3) stuff and just started, I had a goal of one $2,000 scholarship. And that year we were able to give out 11 $2,000 scholarships. So I was like, well, this is good. This is working here. Like people are believing in us and dreaming in us and are dreaming with us. And lo and behold, there was people across the nation that were, I didn't even know if we would get any applications, and that year we got 13 applications. And so then having to turn away people just drove me harder to be like, okay, I need to reach more people. I need to raise more money. And that's how I still am today. I'm just like, okay, people, come on, we've got to help. Every individual that applies is so incredibly worthy of a scholarship. Um, but the other half of my heart and the other half of this whole story is that awareness piece, right? Because when Ruby was born, I needed to see that it was going to be okay.
Mhm.
I needed to see that she was going to, have opportunities, live a life, a full life, with people that loved her and believed in her. Um, and so that's why I share so much, right? I share so much about Ruby. I share so much about, um, our recipients, like what they're out there doing. And because I want people to see that they're just amazing and awesome and bring so much value and worth into this world just by being them. It's not about, going to college or, having some big achievement, like they bring value into our lives and into this world just by being their authentic selves. And so Ruby's brought so much perspective into my life and so much joy. Like I can't even like I'm tearing up thinking about I can't even imagine a life, without her or without people with Down syndrome in it. There's just so much that they bring um into our lives. And so, I feel like I've been flapping my gums for a really long time right now. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the gist of the story. and how it all came to be.
How
So
old Ruby now? Is she 12?
No, she's 15.
she's 15 and
Awesome.
she just got her first job. I mean, this girl's on fire. So
Oh,
she when she turned so when she was a 14, we go to this place called Maudie's. It's our favorite place under the sun to eat. I used to work there myself. So, I mean, I waited tables for like 20 years. Um, and so it's still like a tight knit family of people. They have a golf tournament for us every year and raise money for us every year. I mean, and Ruby, it's like Disneyland to her. Like she'd rather go there than, anywhere else. She loves queso. So whenever she turned 14, she was like, I want to get a job and, I want to work here. And so she went out and talked to the manager, and she wants to be a chef. And so she's like, I want to be a chef here, and she was like, well, you got to start, you can't just go in and be a chef. Like you got to, and so she told her, you know, you have to start at the front of the house first. Like you'd be a hostess and then maybe you move to be, bus tables. And then maybe, you got to work your way back. And so, and she was like, and you have to be 15, to have a job. And so Ruby marched in there on her 15th birthday, literally on her 15th birthday, and grabbed an application and was like, I'm applying, and she filled it out. She applied. She went through the interview process and she has her last training shift tonight, actually. And then she's so excited. She's like, I'm going to be a real hostess. So,
So
and she's like slaying it, like she's taking it so seriously. There's been all these like work modules that she has to do after every shift. She had to do food handlers. She had to get a food handler's license thing. And we were on vacation over winter break, and she the whole winter break, like she focused on that. Like when we were traveling in the car, she had her headphones on, she was listening to it and doing the little quizzes and tests and stuff. So she's a very determined and motivated um you know little lady. Well, I can't say little lady anymore. Every time I say that, she's like, I'm not little. So, but I'm like, I don't want to call you a big lady. I don't know what to call you.
I wonder where she gets her determination from, but I
I
know
don't know. I have no idea.
I
It's
feel like I started following you and Ruby quite a few years ago. And I think that's one of the things for us. I mean, Addie's 8 years old. And so to have families, have children who are a little bit older that have kind of navigated and traveled the path before us and kind of I appreciate social media in that aspect of when we had a prenatal diagnosis, but to be able to connect with families and say, "Yep, this is going to be just fine." I was my wife carried Addie, and so I was kind of similar to your husband in the sense of like we got our diagnosis. I'm like, cool, we're still gonna be moms. Let's go. Like we'll figure this
yeah.
out as we go. And of course, there was some other, grief a little bit and feelings that you have to feel and kind of work through to kind of make way for the joy and the goodness. But I'm so thankful for families like yours and for Ruby's Rainbow that really just advocate and shine a light and kind of all of the things from with and just having older individuals to follow and to look.
Yeah, I think that's like I mean, I always say I shared what I needed when Ruby was born. Like I needed to have that hope and that joy and see, like, oh my gosh, like it's going to be okay, and all people with Down syndrome are completely different, just like all humans are completely different. And they have their own, like, you know, paths and things that they love and things that they don't like, and like, their own personalities and stuff like that. And, some of them don't want to go to college. Like I myself didn't go to college, and so it's like, that's not what, it's not about, again, like going to college or that achievement. It's just about,
The opportunity.
having the opportunity, right? Like once you believe when your kid is born that they have the opportunities and there's possibility for all of it, I think that just raises that expectation, whether your kid does this or that or whatever, like you're still like, oh, okay. Like we're still on this path, that this dream that I had, of them having this full life of opportunity and whatever, so yeah, I love it. The sharing piece is probably one of my favorite things. I mean, it's all my favorite, but that truly is a huge piece of my heart, and I hold all the stories dear that we tell, just for that reason, because I want to honor every single person that, we tell, their stories. Like we have our March campaign coming up, the 321 pledge, and favorite time of the year, 2 full weeks jam packed of just incredible stories, of each, we like to share the good and the, also the, how they got there, and and it's not always this, perfect, beautiful story. There's a lot of struggles, and there's a lot of hard work to get there, and so, I just like to share it all in just a beautiful and meaningful way. So very excited for that.
Did you ever kind of hesitate or think like, this is this too big? Or, even at the beginning, like was there a moment that you thought, hey, we're doing something really big? This is, you know, different from what I thought, but it's going to be great. Or a moment where you're like, we are really making an impact on people's lives?
I don't think I've ever thought it's too big. Only because I look at, you know, Ruby, and I'm like, that girl's going places, I mean,
It sure is.
I don't know, like she's living her own, dream and her own path. And so, um, I don't know. And I mean, yes, the impact that we make is, to me, is, again, whether it's a family that just had a new diagnosis and is like, oh my gosh, just found Ruby's rainbow, and is like, oh my gosh, like, there's so much hope and joy and, opportunity and possibility and all of those things, to being able to help somebody, go for their college dreams that might not have been able to do it, it's all just, I love it so much. Like I really can't believe that this is what I'm doing with my life. Because again, I used to help people with their hair problems, and I was very happy and content doing that too. But, and then I had this little kiddo that just kind of changed that whole trajectory. And I still, don't necessarily know all what I'm doing, like I'm still learning and figuring it out, and, just following my heart really, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so a lot of families find us, soon after a diagnosis, or maybe they have older children too. But with all the families you get to meet, whether it's early diagnosis stages or later on when they're exploring college opportunities, what do you wish more parents heard early on after a diagnosis to help them kind of get through that diagnosis?
I mean, I think just like congratulations, man.
Mhm.
You're, you know, things might look different than you thought, but congratulations on this. I think I wish people, kind of knew of, all of the opportunities and the possibilities, um, that are available. Um, but I mean, I think just knowing that inherently we are all different from each other, right? And so just knowing that, man, you just hit the jackpot, your life is going to be, completely um enhanced by your kid, I mean, you don't know till you know, right? And yes, I know some things are very hard, and some things, that's, sometimes it can be a lot, with making sure I mean, I think my biggest fear when she was born was, oh my God, am I enough? Like, can I do this? Like, am I going to be able to give her everything she needs to be the best little human that she can be? Right. And I think, um, just knowing that she's loved and valued and that I have a high expectation of her is enough, like that's full stop. That's enough, And um, so yeah, I mean, I think I would just want them to know that congratulations, you've hit the freaking jackpot.
So,
We talked about it. It's like people grieve different, or for longer periods too. Um,
Yeah,
so we always, tell people just breathe with where you're at, like just where you're at the moment. It's okay to
right.
feel that. And then we each hit different times in our journeys where we feel like we did hit the jackpot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
For some of us
right.
it's earlier, for some of us it's a little bit later, and that's okay. But eventually we're all like, dang, this is the best jackpot we could have ever hit, right?
Right. I mean, I never in a million years thought, well, A, I'd be doing this. Um,
yeah.
but B, that I would have a kid with special needs. Like that thought never crossed my mind like until Ruby was born. And not that I thought anything good or bad about it, like it just never crossed my mind that, oh, I might have a kid with special needs. Um, and then it happened and it's like it's changed my entire perspective on life, on people, on humanity, on like everything. Like it literally is open. It's like a Pandora's box of awesomeness. You're just like, oh my gosh. You just see, and not that I didn't see things differently I mean, when I had LMA, it was like, oh my God, I didn't know I could love a human
Mhm.
as much as I love this human. Like I literally was like, I knew I was gonna love my kid. I knew it. And the minute, she was in my belly, I knew it. But then when she was born, it was just like, oh my God, like I can't, this child is mine, like I created this child with my husband. Like I can't even. And so I think that was like the realization and perspective I had with Ella was, oh my gosh, I have so much love. Like I didn't know I had that much love in me. It was like bursting with love coming out of me. And then of course I felt the same way with Ruby, but of course I already knew like, okay, I've got this love inside me. Like it's here. But with her, it was like that Pandora's perspective box that was opened of, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. So, yeah.
I think sometimes we talk about like, redefining expectations or what does success look like. And I'm always curious on other people's perspective of kind of like how do you balance the um, limits from assumptions or being a mom to Ruby, like how has that changed how you define success or expectations?
Right. Like, again, it's not about these accomplishments. And I always try to be so mindful of that. Like, especially when we're sharing about I never want anybody to be like, oh my God, like feel like, oh, my kid could never do that, or less than because my kid's not doing that. I mean, I share Ruby and Ruby, again, she's doing a lot and out there, you know, doing things. I never want anybody to be like, oh my gosh, like, my kid's not hosting at 15. No, not very many 15 year olds
Right.
are doing that. So but I think my my gauge is it just like just being authentic, like that authenticity that people bring that have that extra chromosome is off the charts. And that's what we learn from, right? Like that is whether they're going to college, not going to college, they're, you know, whatever they're doing, it's out in the world just by being their authentic selves. Like Ruby teaches me every day to be, you know, just more authentic and to love myself. She loves herself, right? Like that's a really hard thing to do for a lot of people and is me included. Like I have very much like worth issues and things like that. And so, every day I watch her. She just learned to pull her hair back herself and put it in a little ponytail, and she pulls it back and she does this, and she looks at herself, and she's just like, there might be hairs sticking out everywhere because she's still learning, but she's like, look at me, and I'm like, yes, look at you. You're perfect just the way you are, and so, um, I think that's what I want people to to take away from, anybody that's different from them. We're all learning from each other.
Do you think there's something very unedited and very raw and very real about our kiddos because sometimes they give 0 Fs about, um, societal,
Oh, yeah. She
and
can sniff out somebody, like, she's like, "No, they could be, like, the coolest kid on the block," and she's like, "No, thanks,"
if she likes you, she likes you.
Um
If she doesn't, she doesn't. She'll probably tell you. She doesn't sugarcoat things. She doesn't
Exactly.
like, not really into, like, what is trending, what's popular. It's just 100%
Yep.
herself.
Yep.
And I love that. Like, I think there's so much value in that, and so much value in having people in the world that are like that, they're real. They're completely real, and they see through all the crap. So yeah, I love that.
What's something that Ruby's taught you that you didn't expect?
Oh man, so many things. Good Lord. I mean, motherhood in general has taught me so many things. I mean, from patience to that authenticity piece. You know, I don't know. I just think the motherhood ride is a wild one, and so many hard, beautiful, there's so much. I wouldn't change a single thing about it, but I mean, I think one thing Ruby has truly taught me is just that, when you look at that perspective piece, um, that I've always felt that we all have value and worth, but now it just is it's more deeply ingrained, and every time I meet somebody, or, even see like another human on the side of the road that, has a sign as like, needs food, or whatever, I'm just like, that's another human. That's another person's son, daughter, so it's really just helped me hone in on, just us all being human and giving each other grace, and, just valuing us for just being us.
Right.
So,
So you filled us in on, the diagnosis and how Ruby's Rainbow came about, which is so awesome. It's crazy how when our passions, like it's easy to follow our dreams when our passions are there. And I think all of our kids have instilled some passion in us at one point to be able to do something we never thought we'd ever do, right?
oh, 100%.
But I'd love to hear more just from somebody not knowing a ton about Ruby's Rainbow of, what excites you most about the future for Ruby and Ruby's Rainbow, and talk a little bit more on the future of the 321. So you said Down Syndrome Awareness Day. You guys have a big, what do you have coming up for that? Because
Tell us
that's
all.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more. So tie that in with kind of the future of Ruby's Rainbow and
Yeah. Well, okay, so when I first started this, I told you my goal was one $2,000 scholarship.
Yep.
And I was like through the moon. We got to give out $22,000 that year. Fast forward to last year, we were able to give out $500,000 to 132 amazing, capable,
That's
worthy
awesome.
humans out there rocking that extra chromosome, going for their college dreams. So so that has just been incredible to see the growth, the amount of people that we have applying, the amount of people that we're able to help, and also the amount of people that are believing and dreaming with us, right? Like, we can't do it without the people that are, you know, dreaming and believing with us, whether they're sharing things that we're doing, or they're donating, or whatever. Um, So, my dream is just to continue doing that, helping more people, telling more stories, like, just really kind of growing both of those avenues. We've got our 321 pledge coming up, which kicks off on March 7th, and it's 2 weeks of just awesomeness. Like, we've got 8 recipient stories that we're telling from Syracuse University. We're sharing Ruby's uh, high school inclusion story. We shared her elementary one when she was in kindergarten, and then her middle school one when she was um, in middle school, obviously, when she started 6th grade. And so we went in and we're telling her now freshman high school story, which she's been she can't wait for it to come out. Like, she's like, I can't wait for March. Like, haven't seen all of the videos yet. We have a crew that Jay and Michelle that have been with us for 10 years now, which is crazy to
Awesome.
think about. They know our heart, they know the stories that we want to tell. And like I said, I hold that so dear. So to have, somebody that can help you tell the stories, but they've also been with Ruby for 10 years too. And so they know her and she knows them. And so she's like, when is the video coming out? Like, she can't wait for
Let's
it.
go.
And then we're telling her cheer story, because her squad, y'all, is incredible.
Amazing. I've been seeing those
It's
videos.
really, like, it's just a really great, it's been a great experience. Like, I thought she was going to be a band geek because, she played the trombone. I was like, what is she going to, who are her people going to be when she hits, middle school? I freaked out and was like, okay, let's go in and do band, and she chose the trombone and she did that um, for 2 years, but she came home at the end of 6th grade and was like, I want to do this. And I was like, what? No, you're going to do band. Like, you're going to be in marching band when you're in high school. Like, I had it all planned out in my head, like, you're just going to be in band. Those are going to be your people. She
You
was
know,
like, no, I'm going to do this. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't think I can be a cheer mom, but okay, let's let's see how this goes." And girlfriend, like, practiced on her own, because again, I'm not, like, I would like tried to help her, but like I couldn't really help her, but she practiced on her own and did all and tried out and whatever. So anyway, she was a cheerleader 7th, 8th grade, and then she wanted to do it again in high school. Same thing. She tried out and did all, like, it's a lot of preparation, and I don't have that kind of coordination to help her do those kinds of things. I mean, I'm watching the videos. I'm just like, my mind is blown. I can't, am I supposed to be turned this way, or, like, I can't even. So anyway, that's going to be a really special story, also to share. So she's very excited about that. But basically, the pledge is where we make the most, raise the bulk of our scholarship funds. So we ask, the pledge has got 3 steps. We ask people to donate 21 bucks, or more if they can. We ask them to pledge to be kind and then to share it with 3 people. So, that sharing piece is just as important to us as any donation, again, because that awareness piece of, like, hey, man, check out, how cool and capable people with Down syndrome are, means a lot to us. But yeah, we're very excited. Our goal this year is $600,000. And last year we raised 600,000, a little over $600,000 by World Down Syndrome Day, with the average donation being like 80 bucks, and to me, as much as I'd love some, like, buddy to come in and be like, here's $1 million, or here's all of it, here's $600,000, which, hey, man, I would love, bring it on, because then I could hopefully not have to turn anybody away this year. But that shows just how many people are coming together to say, hey, man, we believe in people with Down syndrome. We believe that, they're worthy of this college experience. And so to me, that is one of the coolest things, is to just see how many people show up year after year. They show up and they say, you know, hey, you're worthy of this. And I love that. And it's so meaningful too, I think, just the Down syndrome community in general to see that many people show up. So anyway,
And you guys just was it last year, you Parker from
No, the
University of
last,
Iowa,
yep, the
right?
last 2
He
years
yeah.
yes.
to have a scholarship in Addie's name. In the last 2 years, that's gone to Parker, and he goes to the University of Iowa. And even knowing about Ruby's Rainbow was one thing, but I tell you what, like meeting Parker and giving him his award to be a recipient and talking with his family, I'm getting goosebumps already.
Mhm.
I'm getting goosebumps too. It's my favorite.
About how he navigates college life and he goes to his classes and he takes public transportation and just the entire programs and just the all of it. It gives me so much hope and I'm scared out of my mind, but both, a little bit of both. Let's be honest. Like I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a teacher because of organizations like Ruby's Rainbow that just believe in the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Whether she does it or not, and whatever she decides that she wants to do. But it's so great
Mhm.
to meet Parker and his family and what Ruby's Rainbow means to them as a family. But I mean,
Love
he's
that.
such a cool kid and
So awesome. Well, I guess that's a good parlay into, yeah, if you donate or raise $3,000 or more, we award a scholarship in you or a loved one's honor, and we connect you with the family. Hopefully, you can surprise them as you guys have done the last couple of years with their scholarship award. I mean, I've seen lifelong friendships and bonds be made through this. Which I love, love, love. Like the connecting piece and like the community piece is, a huge piece of my heart too. Um, and so I love that, it's just such a great way to either pay it, forward a little bit, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this could be Addie someday, or yeah. So
it
it's
equally scares the crap out of me.
yes.
Level of independence and like
Yes.
I want
Yeah.
that for her if she wants it. I want that for her if she I have to tell myself all the
It's so funny because like parents are like, "Oh my gosh, I could never, like drop my kid off at college," but then I talk to parents who've done it, and the first thing they say is their kid comes home for Thanksgiving, they've been there maybe a month and a half, and they're like, "Who is this human being? Like, who is this human being?" It's amazing to see once you raise that level of expectation and let them kind of go for, those dreams and those goals, I'm not saying that we don't do that now. Like we let our kids go for their goals, but like independently from I mean, we all learned the most when we were kicked to the curb out of, when like, get out of here. It's time for you to go spread your wings. You make those mistakes and you learn from them. And if you're never allowed to do that, then, you're not going to be able to grow as much. But yeah, the parents are just like, who is this person that's come home and they're like doing their own laundry and, not even just the laundry piece, but just that level of maturity and that level of pride that they have. Like, I'm going to college, it's like Ruby taking her job so seriously right now, right? She's like, I have a job now, I'm a working woman.
I
She's
love
like,
it.
I'm making that money. She says that all the time. I'm like, oh my God.
Lisa's always
I
like,
love it.
"No, Addie's not gonna do that." And I'm like, "Have you seen how independent our child is?" You're like, "Yeah, she's 8, but
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
when you
Well,
fan that flame, I'm sure you have to
Well,
so
yeah, and it's great that, these opportunities are available so they can go do it in a safe environment and gain these skills. It's not like you're just dropping off like see you later and they're just out into the wild wild west, I mean, they have the supports to help them, navigate things safely and, figure it out. So,
yeah.
yeah. It's
So
been really cool. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the whole thing is connecting with recipients and their families. I mean, it's all my favorite part. I've said that about every single part, but is really like connecting with the recipients and seeing, kind of what it looks like, what these programs look like and how they're like helping, change their lives. So,
We have a couple just like random questions that you get to answer. I hope
oh,
you're
yay. Okay.
if you had to describe Ruby in one word, what would it be and why?
Oh my Lord. Determined. I mean, that girl is so from the minute, like I said, when I was shut those books and look, had this little determined little human next to me. She has just showed me around every bend that she, you know, is like whatever she wants to do, she goes for it full stop, whatever it is, whether it's cheer, getting a job, it's Kelly Clarkson.
I saw that and I'm like jealous.
She sang on stage
That's
at a
awesome.
sold out show with Kelly freaking Clarkson. Like, who does that?
Real.
Like she's whatever she puts her mind to, like she's so determined
I
to
mean,
do
so you're
it.
not you never thought you'd be a cheer mom, but I always say like how lucky are we that we get to be like the cheerleader in our
Yeah.
kids' lives and just like
Yeah, for sure.
them.
Yeah. And I have to say I've embraced the cheer mom life. Like I love it. Like she's.
Well, I hear a lot of people that go that cheer route think the same way. They're like, "Wait, I'm not meant to be this way." And then you get in it and you're like, "Okay, yes, yes, I
Yeah.
am meant to do this." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been great.
All right, you have to finish this sentence. So, having a child with Down syndrome has taught me.
Oh my goodness. Has taught me to be my most authentic self.
What's one myth about Down syndrome you'd love to permanently retire?
If they're always happy. Sweet baby Jesus. They are not always happy. They're like any human under the sun. They have moments when they do not want to have anything to do with anybody, or you know what I'm saying? Like they're not always happy. And we struggle with that a lot with Ruby too, because I think because we share so much about her that they see her, they're like, oh my God, it's Ruby. Hey Ruby, and she'll literally go like this sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because she's human. She doesn't always want to say hi or do the thing. She's kind of embraced it more now. She'll be like, "Oh, hey," but that they have their ups and downs and their all the things, all the emotions all the time, just like any
We
other
had
human.
just done our presentation with Parker and his family last year. And then I think it was the DSDN conference, and our good friend Cassie went there and had her picture taken with Ruby. I think you guys were all at a coffee shop or something, but like
Uh-huh.
just done it. And then she sent me the picture of her and Ruby, and I was like, I'm so jealous.
Oh, was Ruby kind?
Yes.
Oh, was she in the coffee shop? Like, was she in line at the coffee shop
Yes.
and I
Yes.
wasn't there? Okay, yeah, I remember that. Okay. Yeah. She's usually a
Was,
lot better if I'm not around. I think it might be a show for me,
yeah.
but
Was she
anyway.
kind? I love that.
Yeah. I know I'm always like, I don't care. You don't have to be super like you can have your space and not, like you don't have to like give them a hug or do just be kind. Like if they say, "Oh my God, Ruby, hey," just don't roll your eyes and be like, "Hi," and then you can turn around and walk away. Just be kind.
Right. We're
But
at a stage of Addie using some inappropriate words sometimes, and I got a call from the school, and I'm like, "But was it in the right context?" Like,
yeah. You're like, I'm kind of proud if it was in the right context. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh my
So,
goodness.
what do people misunderstand about college and individuals with Down syndrome?
Um, I think that a lot of people, it goes to that achievement thing. I think a lot of people think that, you know, oh, well, my kid could never do that. And they don't realize the level of supports that are there. They think I hate the word like high functioning, but a lot of people are like, oh, they have to be high functioning or whatever. Um, and that's not the case. I mean, a lot of them look for a second to third grade reading level.
Mhm.
They're going there to learn their independence, right? And to learn to be, an adult human out in the world, navigating the world. they're not expected to know it all before they get there. I mean, they do have to have some level of safety, sense and stuff like that going into it. Um, but yeah, and there's tons of programs. There's like over thinkcollege.net. You can go on there. There's like 370 programs across the nation that are specifically for people that have intellectual disabilities. And they range from high level support programs, 2 to 4 year programs, to programs where there's very little support for the student, and it kind of just depends on, it's nice because there are, just like for any human, there's choices and there's different colleges for different, types of learners, for what you're interested in. So, I would just say go on and kind of check out, maybe see what's in your area or see where you might be comfortable them going or where they might want to go and just, kind of explore, the different types of programs that are out there. So.
Last one. If you could fast forward 10 years, what do you hope has changed for individuals with Down syndrome?
Oh my goodness. Fast forward 10 years.
So Ruby's 25 years old.
Oh my Lord, have mercy on my soul. Um, I think,
We'll have 18-year-old.
Yeah, that's they'll be reaching out to you. Go to
yeah,
college.
come on, bring it on. Um, I would think that, um, I don't know. I think just continuing with that level of awareness that people with Down syndrome are amazing and capable and worthy of it all, and that these opportunities keep growing. Like when we first started this, there was like 98 programs on thinkcollege.net. Now there's like almost 400. So I think just having those opportunities, grow, and not just college opportunities, but job opportunities and, any other kind of opportunity that they might want to do. Um, yeah, I think that would be my dream.
Love it. Well, we would love to hear where can people find you. So if people are interested, they have, adults with Down syndrome coming up, they're interested in exploring college. If they just want to follow you and Ruby and all your guys' shenanigans, where can they find you guys at?
We are Ruby's Rainbow on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Okay.
On TikTok now.
I don't TikTok.
I don't TikTok either, but we do put our stuff over there on the old TikTok. My older daughter gets so mad at me. She's like, "I've been DMing you on TikTok." Whatever. I'm like, "I'm never over there." Like,
Send me a text. No
like,
other
that's
multiple
not
ways
how
of
they communicate.
communication.
Um, or rubiesrainbow.org. We're on rubiesrainbow.org. The pledge kicks off March 7th, and that'll be on 321pledge.org. That's super fun. You get to, when you donate, then you share your link, you get to literally watch your donation grow. It turns into this beautiful like sunburst of your community showing up. It's really fun. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. I also wanted to mention we have our Lucky Mamas retreat coming up, which is in Austin, Texas, on a ranch. And it is October 15th through the 18th. And it's such a special. We have live music under the stars. We get massages. We have some writing exercises and sound bath. And it's just really, once you hit the ranch, you don't have to worry about a single thing. So anyway, that you can also find on our rubiesrainbow.org website under events. But
Is that an annual thing you guys do?
it's an annual thing. I do it with my friend Heather Avis from the Lucky Few.
Awesome.
And we keep it small because we want you to leave there with 24 besties. So it's really just a beautiful, every year I'm just like, oh my gosh, the right group of people show up, we're like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect group, and then the next year we're like, oh my God, this is the perfect group. um, but yes, that's also something coming up that is super fun and a way to expand your community. Yeah. So
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I truly think you're a trailblazer. So thank you. for, doing what you do and making space and room for families and individuals and just, yeah, leading the charge.
Yeah, I loved hearing more. Loved hearing more, and I'm excited to share about you guys, follow your journey, and all that's to come with Ruby's Rainbow.
Yay! Well, thanks for having me. This is super fun.
All right, we'll see you later.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.